Chapter 13. The Blade in the Dark. The Shadow Blade was more than a vessel. It was a spear of vengeance, forged to pierce the void and strike at the heart of heresy. Its engines flared, firing missiles and torpedoes in a symphony of destruction, as the prow drove itself into the ruptured hull of the heretic battle barge. Metal shrieked, sparks danced, and hull plating buckled as the Shadow Blade impaled its prey, breaching the corrupted corridors with a thunderous roar. The boarding hatches detonated, and the warriors of the Order of the New Dawn poured forth, a tide of steel, faith, and fury. The vanguards of vengeance. Grand Marshal Omar Samson led the charge, a beacon of holy wrath, his power blade ablaze. He paused at the threshold of the breach and spoke, voice ringing across voxlinks to every brother aboard. "Brothers! Tonight, we pierce the heart of heresy itself. We are the Emperor's vengeance made flesh. No demon, no traitor, no shadow shall survive our wrath." Castellan Siegfried the Fearless growled, shaking his fists. "Then let the damned taste our fury! Forward! Let our enemies know the price of defiance!" The sword brethren and crusaders surged behind them, bolters and flammers blazing. Ancient Marduk's massive form thundered down the corridor, storm bolters cutting through warp-spawned monstrosities. Ancient Iskandar, sword swinging in wide arcs, cleaved both demon and heretic alike, his battle litanies booming. "By the dawn, we strike! By the blade, we judge!" Halls of blasphemy. The ship's corridors were alive with corruption, walls throbbed with demon flesh, twisted sigils glowed with infernal fire, and the air reeked of decay. A squad of traitor astartes, their armor twisted and corrupted, emerged from the shadows. Roderick the duelist laughed in the darkness, his twin blades flashing. "You dare wear the Emperor's guise yet defile his name? Die!" He danced through them, severing limbs and heads, leaving behind a trail of silver and ichor. Nearby, Leaf slammed a demon into the bulkhead, his thunder hammer pulping it as screams echoed through the halls. The rift chambers. The deeper they pressed, the more warped the vessel became. The heart of the barge was a rift chamber, a scar in real space where warp energies bled freely. The Gnostic psychers of Aeterna strained their minds to keep the rift contained, while Terminator Farhan hurled missiles and bolter fire into the abyss. The rift writhed, tendrils of shadow tearing at armor and flesh. Farhan's lance of war exploded with demon fire, ripping apart dozens of creatures, yet a single clawed tendril struck him full, tearing his body apart. "Brothers, hold the line," he rasped before vanishing into the warp light. The fall of heroes. Sword Brother Edris roared as he threw himself into a pack of possessed marines. Bolter fire tore his flank, yet he cut through two before a third slammed him into a support beam. The crack of armor against bone was followed by silence. He was gone, leaving only the echo of his last battle hymn. Sirius, the Emperor's champion, leapt at the warp sorcerer guarding the Chaos Lord. His blade, radiant with holy fire, struck with divine precision, but the sorcerer conjured a maelstrom of warp flames. Sirius fell in a blaze of glory, his dying strike severing the sorcerer's focus and scattering the demons around him. The Emperor's champion was no more, yet his faith had bought the Order crucial seconds. The command barge. At last, the High Command reached the bridge, a cathedral of blasphemy. The Chaos Lord, black armor crackling with demonic energy, rose from his throne. "Fools!" he bellowed, voice like grinding stone. "You dare enter my sanctum?" Omar Samson met him, blade ignited. "This is the will of the New Dawn. By the truth we bear, by the blood of our brothers, by the Emperor's light, you fall!" They clashed, the force of titans. Omar's power blade shattered armor, deflected warp energy, and cut through the Chaos Lord's demon companions. All around, corridors erupted into firestorms of bolters, flammers, and psychic blasts. Chaplain Adolphus roared a sermon of fury. "Brothers, stand! Hold the faith! Strike the unclean down!" The Crusaders surged, bolters hammering, swords flashing. The Shadow Blade's boarding strategy, the missiles, torpedoes, and direct hull impalement, had created perfect chaos for the Order to strike. The death of the Chaos Lord. Finally, with a roar that shook the bridge, Omar drove his blade through the Chaos Lord's heart. Warp energy screamed, demon flesh writhed, and the heretic fell, unmade. The warp sorcerer's power faltered, scattering the remaining demons. The Order of the New Dawn stood victorious, though the cost was staggering. Terminator Farhan, fallen defending the rift. Sword Brother Edris, slain in the boarding corridors. Sirius, the Emperor's champion, consumed by warp fire. Omar looked over the bridge, bloodied and battered. "We have won, but at a price no song can honor," he muttered. Ancients Marduk and Iskandar stood grim, their storm bolters still smoking. The shadow blade itself, scarred and blackened, had delivered its deadly purpose: strike, breach, board, conquer. Epilogue of the battle. The ship was theirs. The rift sealed, the demons destroyed. The heretics slaughtered. Yet the loss of brothers left a hollow echo across the shadow blade. Omar Samson's voice, low and resolute, carried across the voxlinks. "We honor those who fell. Their sacrifice feeds the fire of the new dawn. And now, brothers, we make this vessel a monument to vengeance. From this day forth, the Shadow Blade is not just a ship, it is a sword of holy wrath, a herald of doom to all who defy the Emperor." The First Shadow Crusade had claimed its first victory. The Order had proven its might in the void. But the galaxy still waited, and it would bleed under the dawn of their wrath. Chapter 14. Sanctification of the Shadow Blade. The void was silent after the storm of fire and death. The Shadow Blade drifted through the dark, its hull scorched, torn, and slick with the ichor of demon and heretic alike. Yet within the chaos lay the seed of purpose. This vessel would no longer be a warship of flesh and steel alone. It would be a temple of vengeance, a monument to the sacrifices of the fallen, and a beacon of hope for the faithful. The Council of the New Dawn. Grand Marshal Omar Samson convened the High Command within the central chamber of the Shadow Blade, now cleared of demonic contamination. Around him stood Castellan Siegfried the Fearless, gauntlets still smeared with ichor, eyes burning with the thrill of combat. Chaplain Adolphus, Saint of the Apocalypse, Crozius raised in silent prayer, lips murmuring liturgies to the Emperor. Ancient Marduk and Sword Brother Crusade Ancient Iskandar, their massive forms shadowed by the flickering emergency lighting. Sword Brother Roderick, still recovering from his duel with the warp-spawn Marines, twin blades sheathed. Tech Priest Hadrian, the Iron Apostle, the machine spirit of the Shadow Blade already whispering through his servitor conduits. Omar's voice cut through the silence. "Brothers, the Shadow Blade is more than a vessel. It is our sword, our shield, our sanctum. It has carried us to victory, but now it shall carry the soul of the new dawn. Its decks will be purified, its machine spirits consecrated. Its prow shall pierce the heretic and the demon alike, and all who sail within it shall be knights of vengeance and bearers of the Emperor's wrath." Purification rituals. The Shadow Blade was vast, yet each corridor, each chamber, each deck had to be cleansed of corruption. Chaplain Adolphus led the rites, chanting in the language of the Litany of Absolution, sprinkling holy oils and sacred powders across the decks. Where the warp had seeped, the Psychers of Aderna, under strict supervision, laid psychic wards, anchoring the vessel to real space and binding demonic influence to nothing. Ancient Marduk walked each corridor, bolter in hand, incinerating traces of warp taint with righteous fury. Sword Brother Iskandar carved runes of purity into bulkheads, the marks glowing faintly as if the machine spirits themselves had approved. Even Tech Priest Hadrian bent his will to the work, his servo arms and cogitators entwining with the vessel's machine spirit, coaxing it to awaken in harmony with the Emperor's light. Omar oversaw the sanctification, standing at the prow and staring into the void. He muttered a prayer not only for the living, but for the fallen. "Farhan, Edris, Sirius, your sacrifice is honored. Let this ship bear your names into battle, and let the heretic taste the justice you died for." Refitting for war. The Shadow Blade was more than cleansed, it was reborn. Its forward prow was reinforced for boarding actions, sharpened like a lance to pierce enemy hulls. Torpedo tubes and missile arrays were calibrated for precision strikes and volleys that would crack any battle barge. Boarding hatches were strengthened, ready to disgorge crusaders into the heart of the enemy. Psychic chambers were installed, allowing the seers of Aeterna to guide the vessel through the warp with greater precision than any imperial navigator could dream. Omar addressed the tech priest. Hadrian, we require speed, stealth, and the ability to strike like the hammer of the Emperor. This vessel shall be fast, it shall be lethal, and it shall be the spearhead of our vengeance. Hadrian's eyes glowed beneath his respirator. It will be so, my lord. Its machine spirit will sing with fury, and all who oppose you shall fall. The Sanctum of the Fallen. A chamber was created within the Shadow Blade to honor those who had fallen in the boarding action: Farhan, Edris, Sirius. Their armor and relics were placed upon pedestals, bathed in light from sanctified luminators. Chaplain Adolphus recited, "By their blood we are forged. By their deaths we rise. The new dawn shall never falter, and their names shall strike fear into the hearts of the unclean." Omar placed his hand upon the pedestal of Sirius. "Your fire guides us, champion. We will not fail." Preparation for the next crusade. With the Shadow Blade cleansed and refitted, the High Command gathered in the command chamber. Omar spoke. "We have survived the first test of the Void. We have struck a heretic vessel and proven the mettle of the Order of the New Dawn. But this is only the beginning. The galaxy is rife with heresy, with demonic infestation, with the unclean and the blind who follow false gods. We shall strike from the shadows, we shall recruit and train, we shall gather fleet and army. We will be the unseen hand of the Emperor, the blade in the dark, and the shield of the faithful." Chaplain Adolphus added, "The sacrifices of our brothers shall not be in vain. Every heretic who falls by our hand shall honor their memory. Every demon slain shall remind the galaxy that the new dawn rises eternal." The Shadow Blade was ready. Its prow gleamed, its decks were cleansed, and the Psychers of Aeterna were bound to its will. The Order of the New Dawn had become more than a chapter, more than a fleet. It was a living instrument of vengeance, a secret knightly order moving in the shadows of the Imperium. Omar stood at the helm, staring into the dark. "Prepare the crew," he commanded. "Set course for the warp. The heretic awaits, and the galaxy shall burn with the light of our crusade." And so the Order of the New Dawn embarked on its first true crusade, leaving Aeterna guarded by Castellan Antioch and the fledgling armies of Gnostic and Astartes forces, while the Shadow Blade carried vengeance into the void. Chapter 15. Shadow Crusade. The Shadow Blade cut through the warp like a spear of holy fire, its prow slicing the void with purpose. Grand Marshal Omar Samson stood at the helm, flanked by his high command. Castellan Siegfried the Fearless, storming through every plan with rage and audacity. Chaplain Adolphus, Saint of the Apocalypse, eyes ablaze beneath his skull mask, lips whispering liturgies even in the presence of warp storms. Ancients Marduk and Iskandar, the veterans of hundreds of campaigns, their experience guiding every maneuver. Tech Priest Hadrian, the Iron Apostle, orchestrating the Shadow Blade's machine spirit with reverent precision. The Psychers of Aeterna channeled their power, anchoring the vessel in the turbulent currents of the warp, shielding it from detection. Omar addressed his brothers. "The galaxy presumes us dead. The Imperium will not know we live, and yet our duty is greater than their understanding. We strike where heresy festers, we protect those who cannot defend themselves, and we recruit for the new dawn. Our crusade is hidden, but its justice is absolute. Every act of war, every strike against the unclean, sanctifies us further. We are the Emperor's vengeance, and the galaxy shall feel our hand." The first hunt. Through the warp, the Shadow Blade pursued a lone heretic vessel, a recently stolen Imperial cruiser, damaged and limping through real space toward the chaos-controlled sectors. On board, the heretic Astartes struggled with both mechanical failures and the growing presence of warp entities, which lashed through the ship with deadly intent. Omar's strategy was simple but brutal: strike unseen, strike fast, and leave no enemy alive to tell the tale. Missiles and torpedoes were fired in tandem with a direct hull breach. The Shadow Blade's boarding hatches opened simultaneously, disgorging squads of crusaders and sword brethren into the enemy vessel. Corridors of fire and shadow. The Shadow Blade's warriors moved like a storm, bolters booming, flammers igniting corridors and righteous fire. Roderick, expert duelist, cleaved through traitor astartes with lethal precision. Leaf, close combat specialist, smashed demons and traitors alike into walls with his thunderhammer. Ancients Marduk and Iskandar coordinated the boarding assault, their experience turning chaos into strategy. Chaplain Adolphus' voice rang out, chanting the litany of war. By flame, by faith, by fury, we cleanse the Emperor's light from all shadows. Every hall became a crucible of blood and fire. Every decision carried the weight of the galaxy's survival. The heretic Astartes fought fiercely, but the Shadow Blade's warriors pressed inexorably forward. Sacrifice and glory. Even in victory, the cost was high. The battle claimed several heroes, testing the resolve of the new dawn. Crusader Farhan fell defending a corridor rift. Sword Brother Edris died cutting through demonic reinforcements. Emperor's champion Sirius was consumed by warp fire while striking the sorcerer guarding the Chaos Lord. Omar stood among the ruins of the corridors, raising his blade high. Their sacrifice is the foundation of our crusade. We honor them by continuing the fight. We are eternal. We are the new dawn. A secret crusade. With the heretic vessel secured, the Order began harvesting intelligence, relics, and recruits. Every surviving heretic Astartes was interrogated, every demon incursion recorded. The Shadow Blade became more than a ship, it was a symbol of hidden justice, moving silently through the Imperium, striking when the Emperor's judgment was needed but unseen. The High Command convened once more. Omar Samson, Grand Marshal, planning the next hidden strike. Castellan Siegfried, ready to throw his fury at the next target. Chaplain Adolphus, preparing prayers for the fallen and guidance for the living. Ancients Marduk and Iskandar, veterans shaping the tactical doctrine of the hidden crusade. Tech Priest Hadrian, readying weapons, systems, and the machine spirit of the Shadow Blade. Omar's final words before the Shadow Blade jumped to warp. Brothers, we move unseen, but we leave fire and justice in our wake. The galaxy will not know our names, but it will know our vengeance. The Order of the New Dawn rises eternal. And so, the secret crusade of the New Dawn began, moving through the dark corners of the galaxy, hunting heretics, demons, and Xenos with relentless precision, loyal, hidden, and unyielding. The Götterdämmerung. The captured heretic vessel, scarred and smoking from the boarding, drifted silently through the void. Its hull bore the marks of missiles, torpedoes, and the brutal impalement of the Shadow Blade. Yet within its corridors lay relics, armaments, and intelligence of immense value, proof of heretic alliances, warp-touch technologies, and stockpiles of forbidden munitions. Grand Marshal Omar Samson surveyed the vessel from the Shadow Blade. This vessel shall serve a new purpose, he declared, voice echoing across the command deck. From this day forth, it shall sail as the flagship of the Order of the New Dawn. It will be called the Götterdämmerung, the vessel that rose from the shadow of heresy to become a spear of the Emperor's wrath. Return to Aderna. The Shadow Blade and the captured vessel cut through warp and real space alike, their course set for Aderna. The planet glimmered below, its deserts and monastic settlements bathed in the light of twin suns. The Gnostic populace watched in awe as the two vessels emerged from the void, a shadow of war reborn into a symbol of salvation. Upon landing, Tech Priest Hadrian, the Iron Apostle, oversaw the outfitting and refitting of the Götterdämmerung. Its hull was cleansed, warded with psychic seals from Aderna's gifted seers, and reforged to carry the New Dawn's warriors. Missile bays, torpedo launchers, and boarding hatches were enhanced, while the bridge and command centers were sanctified. Ancient Marduk and Sword Brother Iskandar oversaw the training of new recruits and the integration of captured weapons, ensuring that every system and every soldier would function in harmony with the Order's doctrine. Sanctification and oaths. Grand Marshal Omar led the High Command through the vessel, invoking sacred rites. This ship is no longer a heretic vessel. It is a holy spear, a temple of vengeance, and a sanctuary for the faithful. Its prows shall pierce the enemies of the Emperor, its decks shall be hallowed by the blood of traitors, and its weapons shall strike fear into the hearts of the unclean. Chaplain Adolphus blessed the halls, reciting psalms of war and protection. The psychers of Aeterna performed rituals to anchor the vessel in real space and shield it from the taint of the warp, ensuring it could serve as both spear and sanctum. Chapter 16. The Shadow Crusade begins. The Götterdämmerung lay in the orbit of Aeterna, her hull gleaming beneath the twin suns, black as midnight yet blessed with wards and sanctified markings. Within her corridors, the high command of the Order of the New Dawn gathered, each brother a veteran of centuries, tempered by fire and blood, yet still yearning for the fires of crusade. Grand Marshal Omar Samson addressed the council. "Brothers," he said, voice ringing through the reinforced chamber. "Aeterna stands, guarded by our brothers and the Gnostic militia, yet the galaxy beyond is unholy and unclaimed. We cannot linger here. The Order must strike from the shadows, unseen yet unstoppable. We will join an existing crusade, but not as guests. We will bend it to our purpose, using our strength to hunt the heretic, the demon, and the Xenos alike." Preparation and strategy. Siegfried the Fearless slammed his gauntlet on the table. "We have men, but not enough. Firepower, strength, precision. If we are to enforce the Emperor's justice, we must move swiftly and strike decisively. This vessel, the Götterdämmerung, is our sword and our shield. We will pierce the enemy lines and sow terror among those who would oppose us." Chaplain Adolphus, saint of the apocalypse, raised his crozius, his voice calm yet piercing. "Patience, brothers. The crusade we join must be chosen with care. We are not simply soldiers, we are the unseen hand of vengeance. Every strike, every life taken in the Emperor's name, must sanctify our path." Ancient Marduk leaned over the star charts. "Our scouts report several crusades in progress within the segmentum obscurus. All are heavily engaged yet fractured. We can slip in undetected, lending support, and in doing so, recruit and strengthen our numbers. But the journey will be long, the perils immense. This is no simple war of attrition, it is a shadow war, and we are the dagger in the dark." Leaving Aeterna, Tech Priest Hadrian, the Iron Apostle, was to remain behind. Omar placed a hand on his armored shoulder. "Your work will be the backbone of our crusade. Manufactorums must rise, our servitors must be countless, and the defenses of Aeterna must hold while we hunt the unclean across the void. Your vigilance shall allow the new dawn to endure." Hadrian inclined his head, servo arms whirring. "The machine spirits will obey. The planet will be fortified beyond the reach of any demon or heretic. I will guard Aeterna until your return, Grand Marshal." Departure. The boarding ramps of the Götterdämmerung sealed with a hiss, and the engines flared with holy fury. Massive laser batteries, retrofitted torpedo launchers, and engineered weapons of unknown design hummed with anticipation. The brothers moved to their stations, hearts steady, minds focused. Omar looked over the bridge, seeing the veterans of countless battles. Siegfried the Fearless, ready to throw himself into the maelstrom of battle. Iskandar and Marduk, the ancients whose experience would shape the flow of combat. Roderick and Leif, masters of blade and close quarters. Chaplain Adolphus, guardian of spirit and soul alike. He spoke softly, yet every brother heard. "It has been long since we last marched to war. The galaxy burns, the heretic festers, and the Emperor's light calls us to arms. Today, the new dawn rises not on Aeterna, but in the void. We leave behind our home, our safeguards, and step into the dark. We shall return with men, with strength, and with vengeance. The Order of the New Dawn begins its shadow crusade." The Götterdämmerung tore from orbit, engines blazing, a dark arrow of vengeance streaking toward the warp. Its sanctified hull shone with the light of purpose, its decks humming with energy, and its crew prepared for the trials of the void. The new dawn had begun its journey. Hidden from the Imperium, yet guided by a vision older than stars, it would rise to strike unseen, recruit the worthy, and bring justice to all corners of the galaxy. And in that moment, as the warp swirled around them, the brothers knew they were the shadow, the spear, the judgment. They were eternal. They were the Order of the New Dawn.